Everything I have to say right now is Ayezu and Ayeza. We have won the election. We are proud of John Mahama. We are proud of MPP. I know for sure that Ghana's problem has come to an end. We have suffered under. If you say that, are you not putting the pressure you are trying to put on yourself will be so much? If you say the problems of this country has come to an end, John Mahama has a billion tax ahead. You cannot come to that conclusion, is it? I can come to that conclusion because I am sure that Roma.
I'm chanting a ballot paper.
Be I sure your job is secured. Carlos Carlos. Let's see if we can get some more. When we are slept yesterday, power. To the same bed that I have altitude because we get. Yes, it is. The traffic light towards the NDC headquarters. The police are trooping in here in their numbers as well. Security is tight right here at the NDC headquarters. From top to down. What it is also is that private security, the private
inroads into the Ashanti region, which was otherwise considered a stronghold of the NDC. At the time, Sami Jemfi addressed the press. He said they had won 7 seats already over from the NPP. But Roland Walker is still in the studios, and he's with the man who, if you like, declared or called the results of this election.
The first, the presidential election, subsequently the week after having the parliamentary elections, of course, boycotted by the MPP at the time, and they also went 2 terms, and subsequently also by 2008, we had John Dramani Mahama being the vice presidential candidate to Professor John Evans Samuels. And today, this is where we are. The man who never backed down after losing in 2016. But there's something that's got to do with the persona, but also what the voter population and the entire general public of Ghana seem to be telling us in this election. And Musa Dankwa, certainly, what do they seem to be telling us with the numbers that are being recorded or have been recorded?
It tells me that we've always been speaking the voice of the and that what we are seeing is a reflection of what we have for years. If you look at our polling cycles, started in January 2022, and we've been accused of always portraying somebody as the winner. It is not for us to portray anybody. We just report what we are told. And I think if you look at what we're going to get in the end, the results will not be far from what we reported in April 2022. Absolutely different.
Okay. And you've been doing this work over the last 2 years. By January 2024, you started doing this projection that this is what you were picking up. Based on what indicators that you were interacting with the sample size that you picked, that they were telling you? Or on what benchmarks were they saying that he should be leading the pack?
Look, if you look at what we were telling us, first they were saying that the country is headed in the wrong direction. In the upper range of 60-65% every quarter. Then they tell you that their standard of living is getting worse. Then they say they don't think it's going to improve in the next 12 months. Then when you ask them, what are the top 3 things that bother you today that will influence how you vote?
Paying for your Showmax is easy. Just choose your preferred payment method from these easy and convenient options. MTN Momo, Visa or MasterCard, Showmax vouchers at DSTV or GoTV sales agents, or use a promo code. Enter your payment details and hit submit. Showmax, pay easy, stream easy.
Basic task.
Show off your best skin with Nivea Nourishing Cocoa Body Lotion. Now with 5-in-1 complete care. The deeply nourishing formula prevents your skin from drying. With precious cocoa butter and deep moisture for smooth and healthy looking skin. Step out in confidence with our most complete care from the world's #1 skincare brand.
You know, the city collapsed around July.
Yes, started collapsing around July. From April, May, by July.
But it made a speed recovery between December and January. When you look at that data, you would see that the performance of the government also improved around that time. So their faith was tied to the economy and the economy. Once there was no improvement in the economy, your faith is sealed. Period.
Have to suffer for the sins of Nana Akufo-Addo.
He is the head of the EMT, the economic management team. And Ghanaians don't take any excuse that you were not in charge. And if he wasn't in charge, I think he should have spoken. He should have shown that he's not happy with what is going on.
But elements within his camp had come out to say that he was not fully in charge.
That's not good enough. Look, if you look at Kenyan scenario, Uhuru, Kenyatta, and William Ruto, there was open fight between them. They disagreed publicly. So the public knew that Ruto was an agreement with Kenyatta. So when Ruto split his camp, people believed him.
You mean it was going to be very difficult for Ghanaians to believe that Dr. Baumia and all the proposals that he made to the government at the time he did were not adhered to?
Yeah. And you see, there were elements in the government, and I'll mention names. Ken Furata was not the problem Baumia had in the EMT.
Really?
It's an open secret. And I believe if Ken had gone earlier,
Something could have been salvaged.
absolutely.
Okay, but around that time, where the CD started plummeting in 2022, by October, the anticipation was that if the finance minister read the budget, everything would be fine. Just a month or two before, many of the market instruments in the market were then pegged to market value. It also means that the middle class lost a chunk of their investment. Investments for over 2 decades and a half, meaning that if you also relate it to the US dollar, it was nothing to speak about. If you look at that scenario, that voter population, that population of our country, and the people who turned up, the average turnout of 50%, 51% across the constituencies, meaning less young people, more of the outliers, the middle-aged people coming in. What did it tell you about what their thoughts were on who they wanted to lead them and to revive the economy in the country?
You know, if you ask people what are the key issues, and they say education, job, whatever they tell you, you can also look at those who say jobs. Who do they prefer to lead the country? And on that score, Mahama has always performed better than Baumia. When you bring economy as an issue, then it even gets better against Baumia. Because they believe that Baumia hasn't shown that he can deal with the economy.
But he was touted to be the economic messiah, so to speak. Even Nana Dankwe Akufo-Addo on a campaign platform said he was the man chosen to deal with all things, variables, and the objectives of growth for Ghana's economy.
We are here today. We know what has happened. So on the issue of trust, who do you trust? In fact, consistently, we've been asking voters, who do you trust to better manage the economy? It's always been John Mahama. In fact, in the last poll we did, we asked them, who do you believe has the competence, the experience, and the track record to manage this economic crisis? Overwhelmingly, it's been Mahama. So there was no doubt that Mahama was the preferred choice of people who are worried about the economy today. And for that matter, I mean, nobody should be surprised that he's the president.
But Roland, I'm quite surprised how the NPP may have missed this. Because we know, based on historical data, that ever since Baumia was, ushered into the political scene in 2008, he's consistently increased the numbers of the NPP in the 3 regions of the north. We've seen his performance in the Upper East region. It doesn't look like it's shaped up in this election.
No.
John Mahama swept the northern regions.
Why?
See, the economy had superseded any
Other consideration?
Absolutely. Look, people who were intended to vote by religion, ethnicity, and they were completely overwhelmed by the economy. And those things became secondary issue and went entirely based on their pocket.
Now, is it not magical? It almost seemed like a three-line wave. When we're in Parliament, you have the minority whippers or majority whippers, calling the guys together and saying, listen, you guys have got to do this in a certain way. Across the country, there was a particular trend that was going. You didn't see much of skirt and blouse. And let me come to this. I mean, you earlier mentioned Ken Ofori-Atta and his possible, involvement or contribution, that's a word, to this defeat. I'd like to read to you what Eugene Boachi Entry, who's a former MP for Sumin, is actually the current member, but he lost the primaries. He said, as of last night, that we lost this general election in the last quarter of 2022. The 90 MPs who mustered courage and called on the president to relieve the finance minister, Ken Ofori-Atta, of his position due to his mismanagement of the economy. Keeping Ken Ofori-Atta at post till February 2024 meant that We were not listening to the very people who voted us and therefore did not deserve to vote in 2024, deserve their vote in 2024. They have therefore punished us severely and taught the NPP a bitter lesson. Almost a third of registered voters, nearly 6 million voters, did not visit their polling stations to vote due to apathy. How do you respond to this?
I think he's right. Even when you listen to the community of investors, the investor community, yes, they were looking for Ken to be sacked. Wow. If he had been sacked, the sentiment would have gone up. There would have been confidence, big back. And even leading the IMF was very difficult with somebody who was completely opposed to the IMF bailout. And now he's in charge of the IMF team.
And consistently, when you recall, people like Kwame Pieni, respected economists, had called on the president to fire the finance minister.
Joe Jackson, a number of them as well. Okay, so Musadak, are you saying if Ken Oforiatta was booted out earlier, the result would not have been worse, as we see it, astronomical? You're looking projectively 187 seats for the NDC in Parliament, or you're saying that, well, if he was booted out earlier, the MPP would have retained the presidency?
If he had gone earlier, and I think people will accept that since Amin Hunter took over the Ministry of Finance, we've seen a kind of stability in the economy. We've seen some sort of confidence in the economy. That would have felt into the public sentiment about what we call the youth believe that things will improve in the next 12 months. That question would have been improving. But there's a link between the people's feeling in the economy and the polling numbers. You can't detect the two. If they were hopeful, they would have been second guessing. Maybe let's try Baumia. Maybe let's try.
You're not sure?
You're not sure.
No, but you are not sure.
No, God, you didn't ask them the question.
So the question I ask you directly is this. Projectively, 185 to 187 seats. This has a voter differential of 1.5 million, again projectively. So the question is direct. Are you saying that if Ken Oforiatta was sacked earlier, was booted out earlier, that there would have been defeat but marginal, or they would have retained the seat?
No, there will be defeat by marginal. Much more respectful defeat.
I see. Yes. Why is it?
Not this lopsided landslide effect.
Lopsided?
Of course. Landslide, because it's no ruling government or sitting government has lost its way before. And that is very significant. And the consequences of this could be dire because with the weaker parliamentary numbers, you have no voice in parliament.
Almost like a rubber stamp?
Rubber stamp?
Yeah.
When you go back to like the 1996 government Rawlings administration, so it weakens the party in parliament. And once you're not in government, it is the parliamentary caucus that keeps your voice out there.
What's the difference between them? At the time, we said it was massive. Nearly 1 million differential. 2016, Nana Donald Kuwado, Dr. Mahmoud Obama, and this time around, in terms of the reasons or the sentiments why they saw that wave, and then
if you look at it about 6 months ago, I said that if care is not taken, then we could lose with 2 million votes. People were laughing at me.
wow.
You did the math.
Yeah, I think I remember.
If we don't take care, they could lose with that million type of votes. Now, if you look at what happened in 2016, people were fed up with the doom. Even though that totally in that threat, because it has impact on their pocket,
On their business.
on their business. So the economy was the center stage as well. Then you have the add-on free education. Like we talk, it's something marvelous.
Sometimes all we need is a moment to escape the noise and the demands, to unwind and
In anger. Wow. And what we saw is clear reflection.
You're saying the anger today among the voter population is due to hunger.
Yes.
Okay, quite interesting.
Well, let me drift a bit away from the presidential and come to the parliamentary. We've seen the mighty fall. I mean, seats like, that of Esma Wusu, we've seen John Kwabenya, we've seen Okankwe South.
Just hold on there.
Right, sure.
Christopher Mako,
Okay.
you're currently in your community, the city in which you live. Where are you exactly? What can you tell us by the latest? And what's the mood like? Christopher Mako.
So, Roland, I'm currently in the Tamale Central constituency. That is the constituency of Mutala and have actually been elected here in the constituency. Roland, I want to say that it's population galore after the state and the background, and lots of people massive crowd out there already after hearing from the NPP and presidential candidate, that is Dr. Mahama, a while ago, say that John Dramani Mahama won convincingly, and so he was going to get back something or stronger in the future, and so to win the accepted. So as it stands now, a lot more people coming up. I have some of them where I want to interact. They have got it in the that prices of commodity food items have skyrocketed, and so business hasn't been good for her. That is the reason why she went out yesterday to go to John Dramani Mahama, and this morning she's out here to play the speaking of John Dramani Mahama. I'm a gentleman here. Well, I told you now, story of why what does this mean to you?
Christopher.
Yes, go ahead, I hear you.
Yeah, so let's look more at the atmosphere, the mood, the celebration of the people, and how excited
People of Tamale and the northern region actually indicated that the love that the party has shown them, they are going to reciprocate this love on the 7th of December. Lo and behold, this morning, they are here to play, and they are very happy. Every NPP member in Tamale right now is happy. Most of them are one of even if they are the way they are riding their motorbike, the way more people are crossing onto the Christmas from Tamale. Some probably are happy. We are praying that that's of that sort of people after because of the numbers of people who are congregating here around the district park where the results of the Tamale Center will be declared. But let me also just say that so far in the greater Tamale and the four constituencies, I must say that these people that through the coalition because the man in the fourth house right now saying that one day have got all the four constituencies in the constituency of the corner.
and so for the rest of the community that's closer to where you are, What's the level of excitement? Well, Christopher Opokuda giving us the latest from as we await the formal announcement by the Electoral Commission of Ghana. And of course, when that is to be made, trust us, Ghana decides 2024. Your election command center will be there. We're live 3FM 92.7. We're also streaming across as well, and then also TV3. And you go search for TV3 Ghana, where we are. But look, Pakwisi, looks quite an exciting period. And there has to be a reason why the campaign was this way. And Dr. Mahmoud Bamian went into certain stuff,
Very exciting, you know, as you can see right there from the south to the north, there's jubilation. People really were expecting this victory, and I think that it is come at a good time for them. Christmas will be very good for them. But I was just asking, you know, Musa Dankwa, before you took that interview, about the mighty falling and why they're falling that huge.
First, I think the general economy was a problem, and for that matter, when people decided to punish the government, anybody that is leaving the government gets punished. That's the first thing. And then second thing was that towards the end of the campaign, the MPs embarked on monetization campaign. Money was awash in the system. Indeed, when you look at the exit poll that we conducted yesterday, 56% of respondents said they were offered inducement by the MPP. 56%. 20% said NDC offered them inducement. About 12% said both offered them. So you could see that money for the first time was awash in the campaign.
All right.
And people became
all right. Please just hold on. We have to go to William Evans and Combe. But William, it's the first of everything. The first time that we're having a former president get a comeback to win the race, get back to the presidency, the Jubilee House. Also a first time where we are having our first female vice president. And for many people, that is crucial in many firsts. Also the first time where the voting difference, the voter population by way of the numbers that the winner ultimately projectively tends to get will be in the region of 1.5 million votes. How are residents of Kumasi reacting to that, knowing that this is a stronghold of the ruling MPP? William. Yes, I can. Your voice seems to be muffling. So maybe it could be your sound piece or your mouthpiece or whatever it is. But I guess we have to take a relook at it. But if you can also just adjust yourself, I don't know whether that helps by way of the reception. Go ahead and let's see.
problem for the people. And then the drip equipment. You see, we always been talking to voters and we know how they think about these things. They tell us that if you delay projects until the last minute in time, it doesn't pay. They punish you for it. So those things were really annoying people. And I believe and I hope everyone will learn a lesson from this defeat.
But listen, as late as it was, we saw former President Court come in to endorse, Dr. Baumia. We saw them elect a running mate from Menchia, from the heart of Kumasi, who comes from the APJP, very close to the king of Ashanti. Why would the Ashanti region decide to turn out this way?
Look, the economy supersedes everything. Look, you can be an influencer. There is a limit to which you can influence others. When people are hungry, they are looking to survive. And the economy and the job trumps everything else. Allegiances to ethnicity and that kind of thing wins when you are hungry. So in this election, I think all those things became a secondary issue. We were thinking about the economy, money in their pocket, jobs, and those kind of things.
Well, it almost looks like the former President John Mahama pulled a Donald Trump on us, didn't he?
Well, certainly. The polls going this way, mainstream polls going his way, and then the others going the other way as well. And it also then feeds into the whole question and the conversation about the style of the campaign. Do you think Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, his persona as a vice presidential candidate, the type of campaign, I have to insist, from about 2012, having lectures on the economy, etc., do you think that he should have changed his style, not looking at the invectives, the
usual mockery style,
throwing jabs at your opponent, because your opponent is now not a president, but a former president and the opposition leader, and the times are different. The campaign style.
What the campaigns don't do, see, if you go to the US or UK, whatever action that the candidate does, it is subjected to focus group discussion. You put the person and the message in a focus group, analyze it, and see how people react to it. If the feedback is positive, then you keep doing it. If it's not good, you withdraw from it. I don't think they were using polling to guide their steps, their actions. Maybe polls to decide on what should we talk about, but even the response of voters wasn't being tested. You must know whether people are taking it or they're not accepting it as a way to communicate to them. So we have to go into science.
Science and data.
Science and data. Look, when you use science and data, you never get it wrong. And data that is not emotionally attached. Don't have faith for data. Otherwise you become compromised.
So that would mean that there's something that worked for the former president. What was it? Because this is almost like a comeback that was after 2020, but he didn't succeed within the COVID period.
I'm quite sure that he was guided by polls. Obviously, we were doing free polls, and nobody was paying for it.
Still, nobody was
paying for it. So that was a service to the country, and there was useful stuff in that poll for him to look at and use. And indeed, he's a very experienced politician, ran the country before, so he was probably able to maintain a disciplined campaign. How do you don't see a lot of gaps in his campaign. Very little mistakes were done by his campaign. Even the choice of running mate, people were hoping that he would change something. But if he had done that, I believe he would have stabilized his campaign.
You mean you don't change a winning team?
No.
But it wasn't a winning team, it wasn't at
Look,
the time.
you see, turbulence is what campaigns don't need. It needs smoothness, consistency. And there was no data showing that she wasn't what the people wanted. So why change it? And we were thinking, oh, let's look at 2028. Look, a hand is working. How do you know you're going to even win this one? So he kept that discipline. And then you see DMB campaign making a tactical error in the decision of the vice presidential candidate.
You call it tactical error?
Which is what? Which is choosing that one.
I mean, why do you say that?
Look, we have given the party data upon data. That showed that the weakness of MPP is not really in the base, but among certain demographic.
Nice.
I'll come from there. So when you are picking a candidate, you look at the data and see where do we have weakness as a party in terms of trying to shore up our support to win the election. The data has shown consistent that among the charismatic churches, among the Pentecostals, who form about 45% of the Christians in this country, are not engaged about it. So what he needed to do was not look at MPP base, but look at the evangelical base.
All right, just on there. So I think that will have to be continued. Cookie T is with satellite station in Tamale. And Cookie, where are you exactly? What's the level of reception or excitement around you?
It's been amazing here in Tamale, and currently we are at the library, the Collation Center, the Tamale library at the Collation Center, where the Member of Parliament elect is about to be declared the winner. But quickly, just to get into the numbers for you, for presidential, John Mahama is in the lead right here with 69.53%, representing 48,374 of the votes. And Vice President Bawumia is in second with 29.67%, representing 20,643 of the votes. Now, for the incumbent, we already know that it is Honorable Murtala Mohammed. He is in the lead, yet to be declared by the EC, but of course, we can give you the numbers before the proper declaration is done. He's already here at the Collation Center. He is in the lead with 75.8%, representing 592, while the MPP's Sule Salifu is tagging along with 24.2%, representing, I think we need to check on this figure, but that is 24.2%. So we are here at the Collation Center getting ready for the EC's declaration. But the difference here, we can let you know the difference for presidential, which is 35,188. And we can confirm right here that President or ex-President Mahama or President-elect Mahama is in the lead in this place. We shall cross over now and engage the Honorable Member-elect Murtala Mohammed. Good morning, sir. Comrade. Comrade Murtala Mohammed. How are you feeling? What does this win mean for you?
Well, okay, we seem to be having a difficulty with the sound of Murtala Mohammed. Cookie. Well, so we'll have to go back to Cookie. If that sound is rectified, certainly. But Mr. Dakwa, you were on the analysis there. Round it up.
Well, you know, my biggest fear, Musa, you can, attempt to answer this, and I'm sure later when we hand over to Nashoko, she might also like to consider that. I fear that presidential debates have ended, sadly, for this country. Because, in 2016, Nana Addo refused to debate John Mahama, and he still won the election. In 2024, We're seeing John Mahama refuse to debate Dr. Baumia, and he's won the elections. I mean, I think that going into the future, this disservice has been served on us as a people. We wouldn't have the choice of hearing from the two people, those who matter, those who want to lead us, debate on the policies that they want to implement. And for me, I think it's sad.
Mr. Musadang, could that be something that's based on science? Because if the issue of the economy becomes paramount, are there other considerations?
I believe the debates are useful. I do believe so. But we need to find an institution reputable that would, you may impugn certain to other organization. I think it should be a state institution, NCC.
Right.
In the US, you have a debate commission in the US. You know,
historically, the IEA has done it for us, and then we saw the head of the IEA take up a position.
So all those kind of things, it sends a wrong signal. You know, if we have a state institution that is independent, the NCC boss is there. If any government comes and says they don't fire her, let her do her job, and then they can have the mission or the role of debating, of the platform for debate, and it becomes part of our electoral processes. And you have one here, one there. We agree that this is how it's going to be. And then we will be having a chance to interrogate and be able to put people on the spot. Sometimes, look, good leaders are people that think on their feet. Think on their feet. When you put them to debate and they are not capable, they will fall apart.
So it was actually a debate that led to the pressure on Joe Biden to step down as president.
Absolutely. Yes. If he had gone ahead, you would have been completely swallowed by the laws. You would have been wet.
I think within the scheme things, then we'll have to relate to the press encounters that were had by John Dramani Mahama first, and then subsequently after excessive pressure, Dr. Mahmoud. Their responses in those two events, did they influence the decisions of young people or voters?
Yes, it did. Look, after that press encounter by
John
Mahama,
the first time,
I think people were able to. He's been there before, so he then reassessed himself as somebody who will lead again. In the case of Baumia, we said, after that debate, that was the time he began to lose the floating voters.
I don't understand.
Oh, yes.
You mean on the issue of e-levy, and if I do everything now, what would I do when I get into power?
Follow social media. That wasn't the narrative he had wanted as a campaign. And it completely tore him apart. The polls that were done yesterday shows that he won only 31% of voting voters.
Your exit poll?
Yes. So from that point, we can do a tracker that shows his decline among voting voters. He was conceding grounds to Nana Kwambiliago among voting voters, and he never recovered.
If John Mahama hadn't done a comeback, he probably would have gone down in history, or probably gone to his grave as the first sitting president to suffer such a huge defeat in the history of this country. How is it ever possible that he comes back, being the first president, probably after 1992, to get the most outstanding victory ever in our history?
I think it tells you that Ghanaians are angry with the current system. They were prepared to do anything rather than retain the current government. What the results from coast to coast, from Hamile to Aflau, from Abizim to Sakasi, the Greens have spread all over. It tells you something. People are not happy at all. Look at the green man, Ahafo, and Puno. Look, the last poll we did, and people were saying we're crazy. We said on a very, very bad day, MPP could win only 3 regions. very good team, they could win 2. I don't know the numbers right now, calculated.
Yeah, we'll be updating the numbers formally as they come as well, and also as certified by the Electoral Commission. But in the meantime, let's go to Aswansi. It's where we have one of a good reporter so far, consistently great experience, Ibrahim Abubakar. Ibrahim, what's the latest from Aswansi?
Even though officially this has not declared Muntaka as the parliamentary regulator, maybe the down maybe concession address officially also declare Excellency Mahama as the president-elect of the Republic. So they have started with their declaration. In fact, most of them are expected that Dr. Baumia has told the news to conclude even before the electoral commission comes with the election. I'm trying to engage with some of them, but I end up with some of them. I just have a video we can take a listen on what they have been telling me with regards to Dr. Baumia.
No, the video is not ready, but just summarize those for us. If you have a number of them, you can also speak to them.
One, okay, so I put up the live on today. I'm thinking I could make it by my picture. The presidential candidate of the MP platform said this is not for what do they for me?
Well, Ibrahim, we'll go back to those insights you have, the interaction with those excited residents of Asumasi.
What Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia did is in the right direction, and he has attained 100% respect from me, because I did not expect him to come so easily and possibly just like that. So, and in Ghana's history, this is the first time of which a candidate will come out less than 24 hours after voting to come and congratulate his fellow candidate. This is the first time in Ghana's history. So, I really respect him 100%. You have done well.
With the concession of the Vice President of the Republic, Bawumia, and the 2024 NPP presidential candidate, he has just considered defeat. And to us, the NDC, in particular, and for us constituency, we think it's a good moment for our democracy, and it will deepen what the democratic principle that we have.
Just excited following that concession of defeat by the presidential candidate of the ruling MPP, Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, and now that's how it is, that excitement in that constituency of Muntaka.
In the last hour or so, since Dr. Bawumia conceded to John Dramani Mahama, we've seen some celebration from across the country. According to some of the projections he's been making for some time now, for about 2 years now. He's been making these projections, conducting these polls, and even advising on how some of the parties should conduct their affairs going into the elections. So the team Global Info Analytics, I think this is a win for you as well. But back to the desk here, we've been joined by Dr. Jonathan Asante Ochiri. He's joined from Sir Inin on the desk. We've had a lot of conversations off camera, but who hasn't really across the country? It appears after Dr. Bawumia conceded, there's a lot of celebration, but there's also a lot of calmness. People are congratulating him for taking this bold step. It's a win for democracy, if you ask me. Since I'm sure everybody's watching us from across the continent, of course, across the world. That Otsishunu is the water from the base of the Kinky pot. So after Kinky is cooked, the water is used for medicinal purposes, and we also drink it, as a refreshing drink. Yeah. It's stable. Well, it still is in Teshi. Yeah, I can speak to you because that's where I'm from.
When I lived there as a kid for almost 10 years.
Okay.
So, religious leaders who predicted, and their predictions haven't come true, women must be ashamed of themselves. And I think their followers must be questioning them. Does this man read the Bible well? And does he truly, or does she truly listen to the God's word?
Right.
But from this moment, that candidate Mahama is the presumptive president, I think President Mahama and his team must know one thing, that this sway is because we are looking for a new type of leadership and a new type of politics.
All right. Let me come to you, Doc. What does this victory tell us?
Oh, thank you. Let me take the...
Just Ian, we have information also that Alan Chamating, leader of the Alliance for Revolutionary Change, the Butterfly Movement, has also congratulated the former president, John Dramani Mahama. We'll bring you some visuals from there shortly. And just to let
Bring it to the urban centers. Cost of transportation is high. We are buying fuel at 69 cents per gallon. It is high. You put 600, 700 in your 2.4 cc car, and it's not full. How much has come into your pocket?
They are taking more from your pocket than what you are earning. And the cost of living has risen so high that there is nothing else that you can do. Two, so you see that in an economy where we said we are doing planting for food and jobs, one village, one dam, what is the essence of these two? Is to ensure that we plant and harvest all year round. We have done planting for food and job 1 and 2. We spend billions. And so if we are experiencing the highest of inflation, food inflation to be precise, then it means that these policies have failed.
From visiting big tech companies like Google, Microsoft, and Coursera, sailing under the Golden Gate Bridge, exploring the beautiful San Francisco, and hanging out with Stanford University students, it's been much fun learning and immersing ourselves in this new surrounding.
We only have a 17% allowance physical space to be able to do projects that government wants. So you see, when you have government having important and monumental, projects abandoned, it means there is no space.
Yeah.
And what that means, the rippling effect is that there will be unemployment. Those artisans that you mentioned, they will be unemployed, and the economy will not expand. Final one, the city to the dollar. The city to the dollar. So you see that this affects everybody.
Yeah.
Accra, Greater Accra is the entry and the exit, the mover and the shaker of the economy. And so if those who are importing, and this is an import-driven economy, if those who are importing are spending so much space just to get fewer dollars, and that the things that they bring, we should have the purchasing power to purchase so that the money will revolve. Here is the case. They try, because they want to still be in business, they'll use their capital, bring those things, and they are sitting idle.
And these are the things we believe which have affected the ruling government.
Certainly.
In the elections.
Certainly.
All right. I see a lot of people on our live stream sending messages to what you are saying. I'll read some of them in a moment, but I want us to go to the office of the former president, John Dramani Mahama, where my colleague, Kamla Kluche, is bringing us live visuals now. Kamla, can you hear me?
Okay.
Kamla, what's the mood at the office of the president?
Cantonment residents of the cantonment office of John Mahama. Not much activity. And here you can see scores of people trooping in here and there, but I can tell you for certainty there are so many people who are outside the office of John Mahama. He has few of his staff who have also come in here. It's a Sunday, however, because of what the issues have been regarding the elections and what the numbers appear to be looking like for them. Yes, they have come to work. They have actually not gone off from my information for a very long time because of the tax that was ahead of them. And now that it's appearing that they have achieved that aim, we'll see what it is. I'll be speaking to one of his aides, but the cameraman will just walk out with me to his office and just outside the walls of his office for us to just meet with the people who are outside the office of John Mahama. Now, this is what it looks like outside there. Just a short while ago, there's been wild jubilation from the people over here. Let me just have a quick word with Gloria. As you know, Gloria is an aide to John Mahama. Where is your boss as we speak?
My boss will be in the church right now. he should be in the church by now because that was where he received the congratulation message. I believe.
John Mahama is in church as we
His
speak.
mommy is in church, so I am sure he's also
What,
in church.
what does this victory mean for you, the staff of John Mahama? You've been in opposition for the past 8 years. How are you taking this victory?
Yeah, we accept this victory as it is the doing of the Lord. Because God, in his word, said he cannot be mocked. And nobody can take his name in vain. And so this is a sweet victory that is depicting the power of God to Ghanaians. That he is the God that does not share his glory with anybody. And you cannot take his name to dupe the people of his country. Remember, Ghana is the center of the world. And people believe that this was where God was to elevate the world. And if Ghanaians have been the people of God, Muslims and Christians and other religions for all these years and have cohabited in peace until the entrance of this tyrant of confidence that we have experienced for the past 80 years, God is a jealous God. He has to fight to redeem his country back to himself. And thus we took this victory as it is something that is the doing of the Lord, and we glorify his name.
Gloria, I didn't know that you were a preacher, but the next thing that I will ask you is, what is the amount of the pressure this victory would put on John Mahama?
Yeah, the pressure that this victory will put on John Mahama is because of the 24-hour economy and all the infrastructures that have been left in the bush, the uncompleted and the one they have so-called started and they have not gotten anywhere, but they have started with the
Pastor, can you hear me? Pastor, where exactly are you in the Volta region and what's happening right now?
So I'm in the Oxford constituency, currently at the police center. Let me inform you that the results for the Oxford constituency is yet to be declared. That is for the parliament. And then
it's yet to be declared?
It's yet to be declared.
Okay.
In the member of parliament elect, Honorable Thomas Walayo Temple, on several other who are waiting for the history officials to declare that very parliamentary result and also announce that of the presidential result. But then, immediately after the flag bearer of the NPP, Dr. Mahama, had actually finished with a contested speech, several people here in Mokwe began to put in here. They have marked up here at the instance of that very speech from Dr. Mahama, which indicates that John Dramani Mahama of the NDC is the president-elect for the Republic. I'll be engaging a few of them to understand their mood. Let me speak to the gentleman here, who from time to time, anytime we are in Mokwe, in almost leading the campaign as far as the this match has been a very tough for you, particularly when you come against no other person than John Peter, but it must be a very tough journey for you.
You are not far from the truth. If you can tell from my voice, it has not been easy at all. Since from when we began the campaign, we are the radical. Yes, my brother just said that. We went to the north. It wasn't easy. I've said it even in the north that I would never won always seat. Even at the church place in 2020, okay, with shenanigans, with gerrymanderings, they were able to steal the seats at the time by taking off the South people. If they were among us at the time, we will never have been an MP of Norway. But God willing, the right people have spoken today, and then we now have a new MP elect in the person of Walanyo Chekpo Thomas, the Fulani boy,
All right, we're having a problem with the connection there, but those were live visuals from the Hohoi constituency where provisional results suggest that John Peter Miru has lost that seat there. And we're going to try to go back there again and speak to him live. But until then, we're going to come back to the studios and continue our discussion on what has transpired over the last 1 hour. We'll also go to Bole to talk to our correspondent there to bring us live visuals, the mood in the area and what the winning candidates have to say. It's the hometown of the president-elect. He's not, well, he's in a cantonment at the moment, so he's not there, but the mood there will be interesting to know. So we'll bring you live visuals there in a moment. But back to studio. One of the questions, or one of the suggestions that we see constantly come today, that's been coming on our live feed, is a question about whether the voting pattern of Ghanaians during this election is an indication of their feeling about Dr. Baumia's, if you like, his ability to be able to actually manage the economy and the country, or about their sentiments about how the president, His Excellency Nana Akufo-Addo, has run the country.
Let me make this point and make it very clear. The entity of the last 8 years is not the entity that all the traditions of the UGC coming the Progress Party, coming the Popular Front Party, and now the NPP. This entity does not have or does not share the principles and the values of the Rochers, the Kofi Fabriziers, and then the
values do you speak about?
Of respect, of dialogue, of consensus, and of being empathetic, even as a conservative party.
And is this in reference to the president or the party as a whole?
It's with reference to the president because he is the current leadership.
Okay.
Now, that opened a space for Mr. Mahama and his NDC, irrespective of the revolutionary antecedents, to take a centrist stage and present themselves as a more accommodating, more respecting party. And I've said this when I delivered the JEA Mills Memorial Lecture last year. Under President Mahama, I slept well.
You slept well?
I slept well. I wasn't afraid.
You
that
mean
I would
personal
be beaten.
security?
Personal security. That somebody
Very critical of the government as well.
yes.
With his view. That's what he said. I don't know
Yeah.
that.
That I remember those days his defense minister, Dr. Ben Kubo, even when I was super critical, would come to me at my office and we would have a robust conversation. And sometimes we would even speak to my students. There was a space for engagement and for reflective thinking. We have an NPP now that is driven by a sense of self-importance, hateful, and very dismissive of alternative. So when people made their choices yesterday, particularly for those who voted, one was to say we need change. The second, particularly for Ashanti and Greater Accra regions where people did not vote for the NP, it was to say, well, we cannot vote for the Mahama, but we will refrain as a protest vote to send a signal that the processes for seizing our party, taking control of our party back, has started. And it is not going to be an easy process. It's going to be painful. We are going to hear some really very nasty things.
All right. Well, I guess there are lessons in there for all parties, really, moving forward. Moving forward.
But
But
the last one before I have to run.
you have to run. All right.
That for those that Ghanaians are giving this power to, it must be handled with care. Because the joy that we feel or they feel today, in 4 years or 8 years, should on the other hand. So one is about language. How do you speak about your opponents and to the people of Ghana? How do you interpret the victory that you are enjoying now? And that victory is about Ghanaians' wish to engage in new types of politics, participatory, inclusive, dialogic, that seeks the interest of enterprise Ghana. Any other thing else might lead to a social upheaval that we all regret.
That's important advice. Thank you so much, Prof. Femin. It's always a real pleasure to hear from you and to have you on the show. We appreciate your being here. We hope you are able to join us again until all of this is over. We're going to cross over now to Bole, where my colleague Adam
Transform your space with colors and more.
right now. Adam. Adam, can you hear me?
Hello?
Yes, Adam, great. You're live. What's the mood now at the Bollywood Palace? Hello, Adam. All right, it appears Adam cannot hear me there, but we will cross over to Adam when we're able to re-establish contact with him. He's at the Bollywood Palace. You can hear me? Amazing. Amazing. What can you report from the Bollywood Palace right now?
Thank you very much. I'm Kenneth at Bollywood. Myself, Mahama, who went for the waters the atmosphere of money, on the street of money. This is the reason why they are still atmosphere.
All right, it appears the connection over there isn't so great. We will go back there because it's important to know how the people from the hometown of the president-elect, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, are feeling right now. What's the mood like? Because even here in other parts of the country, we're seeing a lot of videos coming in of people jubilating, people celebrating, people crying their hearts out, and some worshiping and thanking God for this victory. We know that the president-elect himself is in church right now, obviously thanking God for this victory. He has tweeted to talk about his victory and the fact that he has been congratulated by the vice president. Also, we have some more tweets coming in I'd like to read. I see a tweet from Dennis Miracle Sabwaji. He says, Dr. Mahmoud Baumia just called His Excellency John Dramani Mahama to congratulate him as president-elect. Congratulations to all our NDC friends. Good job. Also, we see a tweet from Gabi Ochredako. He says, congratulations to the president-elect, John Dramani Mahama, and the National Democratic Congress for an emphatic victory. The people have spoken. Democracy lives. Ghana be the ultimate winner. All right, so there you have it. These are some tweets online. Doc, why are you smiling? Are you laughing, actually?
What can you do? When the general masses have spoken, all you need to do.
But this is all very admirable, isn't it?
Yes,
it's all very admirable.
It's part of the democracy.
Yes, it shows political maturity. I think we can appreciate that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. It's interesting. Now, if I'm to follow up from
where we left off, yes.
The question in my note is, what is the role of the president in Baumia's laws?
Yes.
Yes, that is a question that I asked myself.
I actually wanted to read this to you.
Okay.
So this is a tweet on Facebook from Ni Anekwe Abe, and he says, the truth is, Baumia did not lose this election. It was a referendum on Akufo-Addo's governance, and people came out massively to voice their disappointment. Go figure. That's a tweet I've seen on Facebook that's getting a lot of interaction right now.
But to what extent can we blame the president? Baumia cannot escape the flag. Because if you look at from where Roland was talking about, from 2012 downwards, right? He was engaged in monologues. He was engaged in monologues. That is what and telling out theories and certain fundamentals of the economy. Now he escaped public scrutiny in terms of his monologues turning into dialogues. And the very first time that he had a dialogue, that is the press conference that he did, you saw the rating.
Yeah.
It was abysmal. He was not on top of his brief. How can somebody ask you the second question and then you open a book and it's like you are reading responses that have already been written? And that is why I told them that, look, if it is about presidential debate, with what the vice president did and what Mr. Mahama has been doing, if they should have it, he will be overwhelmed.
You don't think he was ready to respond to what the questions Ghanaians had?
It's different when you do a monologue. This one, going to think on your feet. You may be an economist. But what I have noticed about Mr. Mahama is that he's been reading. He reads a lot and interrogates areas where he's not familiar with. So that if you come as president and you lie or you spin, you'll be able to find out the exact information. I don't think that was the case with our president.
Our president or the candidate?
Our current president.
Okay.
Maybe he had too much confidence in Dr. Bawumia that he felt that he can handle affairs. Because how many times do you hear the president interrogate data? How many times? In his speeches. If it is just one year dot there, he's gone.
Interrogate his own data?
Data, like what Dr. Bawumia does.
All right.
But our president has made us understand that that is not his area. That's the more reason why he brought you. So he cannot, Dr. Bawumia cannot in any way, exculpate himself from his loss. But there is no way anybody can convince me that the president has not contributed to the loss of Dr. Bawumia. Even let's look at historical antecedent. When President Rawlings chose Professor Mills, they said it was acclamation at that time. You know what he did? He ensured that he supported the vice president to win. But he forgot that he himself had his own baggage, right? Of which the vice president then was supposed to check that one, as well as, turn out the new idea that he also wants to put across. So when President Rawlings' face was appearing one too many, that is what the issue of Professor Mills will not be his own man came up.
Yeah.
And how do you convince us that Dr. Bawumia would have been his own man?
We saw that leading up to the election, there was intentional attempts from the candidate of the vice president. Do you think that was properly done? Did it work at all? Because some of the things you're referring to are things that Dr. Bawumia did not do, personally or professionally.
Yeah. You see, it is what I tell my students when it comes to presentation, that those who hide and they don't take part in the production of the material, in examination you will suffer. And those who would have taken part, they will find it easy to do the presentation and will be able to write good essays. So, I'm of the view that the president, in as much as, Dr. Bawumia shouldn't have even added into those, this advisory, the campaign.
To destroy that which he had built.
Yes.
To do his own campaign.
Hey. Because you've gone down there to tell the people, convince them, blah, blah, blah. You see, to go to the Ashanti region 15 solid days. And I don't know, maybe...
And then he went back again.
He went back again.
Yeah.
He couldn't get it. Then the other thing too is that the MPP grassroots itself are not comfortable. I think that's what Bob said. They were not comfortable with the current leadership. They were not. It appears that the party has been hijacked by a minority group.
In leadership?
In leadership. Though together they produced the government, right? But as of now, they have lost their way. And that the grassroots were very much uncomfortable. They also said that if Oforiatta had been young of early enough, probably, I beg to differ.
Okay.
I beg to differ because the president shouldn't have brought Dr. Amin because it was a triangle. Oforiata deputized by Amin and then the lady. So if you really wanted a change and you had nothing,
They should have removed all of them.
you should bring new team altogether. Or bring somebody else who would head the ministry.
And
Not
keep it.
those who have contributed to this.
Okay.
The female factor now. The female factor. Maybe we're overlooking that.
Yeah.
The good old Professor Nanajino Profile, fantastic woman.
It's a win for affirmative action. I mean, you see a lot of women actually talking about it online.
I said that.
Because, you know, when Eslawusu lost her seat, one of the conversations online for people who support affirmative action was that, well, and now some of the strongest women in the house have lost it. So soon after affirmative action, yeah, online.
Affirmative action, not those theoretical stuff. Some of the things may be in the statute books, right? May be in the statute, but they will never get implemented because you don't have power and you are not close to power. Professor Nanajino Okajima is someone that not a single untoward thing has been said about her record. From financial, right? From administrative, nothing. So I was tempted to think that she might have contributed more in the 2020 elections. But the argument that I made, which got a bit crumbled, was the fact that they could not win the Central Regional Presidential. So then it means that what about the hung parliament? Because this is a person 2016 that nearly lost by 1 million votes. Suddenly, the same person, right, but a different running mate, and they produce this. And Mr. Mahama and that team almost they have the vote that the president had in the previous elections. And they were on a rising trajectory. So the argument came that she didn't contribute that much, and so they should change her. And the argument of Mr. Martin was that, well, why is the NDC not thinking of succession? If you are thinking of succession, looking at the age and other things, then you ought to change her. My argument, and I think I made that argument here, it is boastful arrogance when you don't have power and you are thinking of succession. This is what the Greeks say, pride comes before the fall. Get the power because as far as NDC or MPP are concerned, they have the capacity to market any candidate of their choosing.
But should you not plan for the future?
You are
you're trying to get power, but yes.
So I said that changing the woman will create more questions for you to answer. I think Musa Danko said that as well. It will create more questions for you to answer. The woman folk that were getting attracted to your party will have a rethink. So you would have ruffled a lot of feathers, would not have been in a position to solve, to put together again. So bring the pair together. Maybe all what they need to do is to
Joy family. FM.
On every ride.
Said where we see more Ashami, 60 so far, but what you realize is that that is also scattered across the length and breadth of the country. That makes this green wave very national, not concentrated at one point like we saw in 2020, where in green, in the western region, which has remained, swing and the blue weather constituency, region, even after the division or the carving out in the north, the western north from that place, has still remained a swing region, and this time around has remained bellwether as well. Let's go to the western region, and I think that tells an important and interesting story. Places like the most urban part of western region, for instance, if you go to Second D, we all know the story that has happened where there is a green flipping where we've seen Ijapamesa, who is currently the tourism minister, right? He has actually lost a trillion with 43.2% to a Blade. He won with 56.8, and that's very massive. If you do the math, you can see a huge difference between what Ijapamesa got versus what Blade actually got.
I think this is an area that Mamabi is very, very interested in. And don't give it all away. Exactly.
Yeah.
Stay in the western
I'll stay
region.
there.
And then I'm sure we're also interested in Domipaluya.
Yes,
We're
we
interested in
are.
Ablekuma West. We're interested in all the areas that have turned green that was previously blue. But this is just preliminary. Kofi, hold your horses. And let's head to Studio 997 and join the next MFA. MFA Akosia Adeti, also on standby with her guest at Studio 997. Let's cross the street quickly and come back. Hi, MFA. Thank you so much, and thank you, Mama V, for passing over the baton to me. So today, there's so much, a lot of firsts, as you have said earlier. And I'm joined by Professor Abina Enimoye Boabenin, and she's a senior lecturer at the University of Ghana's Department of Communication. Prof, so before we even came on, you were just screaming on top of your lungs that it's the first time Ghana will ever have a vice president. But I know that makes you really excited, but let's have your initial reaction. We're going to go back to my colleagues on Joy News, but let's have your initial reactions as to your expectations. Is this how you thought this year's elections was going to go? Okay, Prof, I'll come back to you, but I'm going to go back to MFI. And MFI, I'm just going to fix that technical challenge with Prof's mic, but let me come back to you. And if you're wondering what Prof is trying to say, Prof is just expressing her excitement about how we're going to be having for the first time the first female vice president in Ghana here. And when we come back and we solve that problem, with any expectations at all. But we definitely will get her highlights of this year's election. Of course, Ghana is really turning green. I'm back to you, MFI Mawadi. Now the first time the former president's coming back. Exactly, it's a big comeback for
the same Americans.
Exactly, yes.
They had a vice president, female vice president, in 2020. We've replicated the same thing in 2024. They brought in a former president. We've done same. So we are most.
says, I have this morning received a congratulatory call from my brother, Dr. Ad M. Bawumia, following my emphatic victory in Saturday's election. Thank you, Ghana. We've also had an election, a reaction from...
In the US election, the issue around economy was number one. And in Ghana, it's also number one. And when you have such issues popping up as number one, so that tells you that it has become very national. I mean, nationwide, people are concerned about the status of the Ghanaian economy. And in fact, if we drill down to understand why we are seeing some of these drops and some of these performances, especially in the Ashanti region. Let's focus on the Ashanti region. Why? The Ashanti region is a hub for informal trade. So definitely they do a lot of competition. They depend a lot on the stability of the sea. So if you are looking at any region that has actually suffered as a result of the exchange rate fluctuations we've had since the end of COVID, you can't take out the Ashanti region. And most of the consensus that give the NPP big numbers are the urban part of the Ashanti region. And they are traders. And if you put your ears on the ground, they were really when they saw the commissioning spree in the Greater Accra region. You know, I mean, they have been neglected, and I mean, days to be the election, you are glorifying another region. When I am your stronghold, these are some of the reasons why people feel that, I mean, they have resulted to the low turnout of propensity to vote in the Ashanti region and its constituencies as well.
But we are yet to fill the whole map. On the know that we can have 60, but at least we are waiting for Aswasi, for instance, island communities. We're also hearing about infrastructure, Dumase, turning green, for instance. We are hearing that it does look like the NDC is making a lot of inroads in the Ashanti region, because we just talked about one region, one constituency like that has just turned Asupa. Yes, Hamon's constituency and so also. But we're here to fill all that. So I'm sure that you go to another region, or if you're done with the Ashanti region, or you want to still stay on the Ashanti region.
Yeah,
then
but I think that we need to this area of the actually shares border with the other part of the let's say the Bono eastern part. And we know that that part has been relatively blue, even if you segregate the constituencies that form the Bono East. And people are saying that if you look at the Ashanti region, the demographics of the region, looking at their population, this is the part has a lot of settlers. And they are not your original blue state. So for the NDC to be winning in certain areas like this, sometimes, we have Idra, Secho, Dumase, and other places, the NDC winning. But it is so unusual for the NDC to win in a place like Ahapuano. Exactly. The name is Ahapuano. That means that it shares border with the Ahafo region. And we've seen how Ahafo, even though it didn't exist in 2016, 2012, when you put together the constituencies that make up that region, you will see that Ahafo was removed. So for Ahapuano South East to go to that tells you that a lot has actually gone wrong in the Ashanti.
But that's formula. I am as well. I just wanted to draw into the December elections. Remember, when you vote, go home. Stick with your issues and responsibilities. There'll be another 4 years. Another chance for your candidate of choice. Let's not throw away the peace of this republic. I'm Kameni Amano, and I encourage you to maintain the peace this election.
Hello, my name is Roland Walker. This election season, peace begins with you and I. Make sure your utterances, your behavior, your relationship with everybody else, could be your brother, your sister, your neighbor, a friend who is in the other political party or doesn't support your cause. Right. As you do that, go to the polling stations peacefully. After voting, make sure you leave that polling station and vote right. Peace is needed right here this election season. Be a good citizen. Ghana, it speaks.
Hi, I am Cookie, co-host of TV3 New Day. In just a few days, Ghana approaches this critical decision moment. It is imperative to remember national progress. It's not supposed to be a battleground or a battlefield, but a reflection of our collective voice. Now, to our leaders, to our candidates, and to the entire citizenry, I pray and hope that we all choose words that inspire and not incite. Let's deal with each other in a very civil manner. Let's also choose words that build and do not break. There's only one Ghana, and our Ghana is bigger than the 2024 elections.
Yo, what's up, Ghana? What's up, boy? I go by the name Stone Boy, and all I want to say is that come the elections on December the 7th, make sure that you go with a peaceful heart, with a grateful heart, that you are alive and living, and everything is going to be all right. You don't need to fight nobody from any other political party. Just stay true to yourself. Go in there, go vote, and go home, wait for results, and be happy. It's Christmas, you know, so we can't jinx it up. God bless you. Stay safe. One love, Stone Boy. Beep.
A leader must have followers. The only thing that makes a leader who he is